Hey yo, what is good family? I hope y'all are doing great today. Alright, so my most recent video was about some Destiny drama that the community was talking about, and I was thinking, okay, let's work on it, let's upload it, boom, everything's good. But what happened while I was doing that? Some more Destiny drama. Honestly, at this point, I'm not even surprised. But before we get into that, if you end up enjoying the video, hit the like. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and you already know all of the regular YouTube stuff. I actually did want to make a positive video about Destiny 2 and how excited I am about Lightfall, but I guess Bungie had other plans. And since it's well deserved, we're about to spin the block on them with 4 reasons why I'm really concerned about Destiny's future. So, let's get to the point. My first reason why I'm really concerned about Destiny's future is actually the cause of the most recent drama, and it's all of the performance and patch issues that we have been seeing consistently for the past couple of years. The most recent example being the last weekly reset that we got. If, unlike me, you actually go outside and you touch grass from time to time, you may have missed what happened, but basically, after the weekly reset, a lot of people lost their triumphs and seals and the progress to their catalysts, and a lot of account progress basically. Bungie actually had to turn the game off for about 24 hours, scrambling for a solution almost like a fumble at a football game. There were even some Bungie devs who were saying on Twitter that it's almost like the office has caught on fire. The end solution to all of this was rolling back everybody's accounts to 15 minutes before the weekly reset so nobody would actually end up losing real progress. If you're not a hardcore Destiny fan, you might be thinking, okay, so what's the big deal? The game was down for 24 hours, then it was back up, so what's the problem here? The issue here is that things like this have been happening much more often than they used to. At least from the time I've been playing the game, the first one I can remember really vividly was, I believe, Season 10 was Season of the Worthy when we got the Fellwinter's Lie, and the quest bugged out so heavy that no one could actually complete it, but that didn't lose progress on anything else for anybody. So it wasn't the worst issue that we would see in the next couple of years. Things just started going downhill faster and faster. The first time that Bungie ever needed to roll back the game was on the 28th of January 2020 for loss of currencies and pursuits. Not even 2 weeks later, another rollback was necessary, again for loss of currencies and this time materials. The problem here is that rolling back the game means that they messed it up so bad that they couldn't actually fix it. Basically, ever since Beyond Light dropped, the patch stability has been wonky at best because you never knew if you were going to get a patch that breaks the game. In more recent memory, just a couple of weeks ago, the Destiny API went down and no third-party apps were able to work with Destiny. While that's more of an inconvenience than an outright problem, it does point to the wonky stability of the game. And most likely, this actually stems from Bungie's approach to how they make the game. During the most recent Game Developers Conference, Bungie devs outright told us that they're making the game updates with the idea of them coming quickly and consistently, instead of them coming with consistent quality, which is starting to be a very big problem for Destiny, with a great example being the Duality Dungeon, which is behind the paywall and is still buggy. It would be one thing if the game was actually free to play, but sadly most of the content inside of it is pay-gated, which is a very valid point of concern because why would you be buying a product that is more likely to fail than not? While I can admit that's a bit of an exaggeration, it's not very far from the truth. And before I move to the next point, I'll give one more example, and that is just the lack of transparency that we have been getting from Bungie. For the most recent issue, they just basically told us, yeah, that last patch was what broke the game, but they never gave us a full explanation of what happened. With the most shady part about all of this being Bungie not admitting that the character deletion bug is happening much more often than they would like to admit. Things like this just erode community trust and are honestly a very big point of concern. I just hope Bungie can get their act together before Lightfall, because it's gonna be bad if they don't. But alright, I've been talking about this way too long, so let's get to point number 2, and it's the new player experience, which at the moment is pretty trash. Now, we can all admit it's bad, but what are the reasons for that? Now, what happens at the moment is you get revived in the Cosmodrome, you start killing Fallen until you find another Guardian who starts taking you through some things and a very short quest. As a standalone story, it's definitely not that bad because it gives you some of the vibe of what Destiny is. The problems start rolling in when you think about what does this game actually teach a new player. It explains some of the basics of the game, like what your abilities are, maybe what gun perks are, and that's pretty much about it. Mods, which are pretty much an integral part of the game, are not really explained at all. Build crafting is It's not existent in this tutorial, which is really bad because it's one of the biggest and most fun parts of the game. What about the story? Well, that is also unexplained. The quest is pretty much self-contained, which is really bad because the lore of the game is actually pretty incredible. So what ends up happening is the player is thrusted into this Destiny world with nary context of what's going on, and if they enjoy the gameplay, they'll actually have to scour YouTube for tutorials on how to play the game effectively. What about the story? You have to go to YouTube for it as well because most of it is in lore books, and to be honest, there's no cutscenes that explain anything about the world. Considering the vast amounts of lore that the game actually has, a couple of hand-drawn cutscenes simply are not enough. The worst part about all of this is that before the Destiny content vote, the new player experience was leagues better, and that is because players used to have access to the Red War campaign, which was the first campaign Destiny 2 had. Since I started the game before Beyond Light came out, I did get to enjoy this campaign for myself, and I need to be honest with you guys, it was a much better new player experience than what we have currently. Right now, if I want to get one of my friends to play the game, I'll need to sit them down for a 2-hour lecture just so they don't get lost. The problems with all of that are pretty obvious. How do we get more people into the game if the new player experience is just so... I don't want to even say mediocre, I just want to say straight up bad. But with all of that out of the way, let's move on to point number 3 because this video is getting to be a little bit long. I will try to speed around this one because it's pretty easy to explain and it's not that much to tell. One of the biggest issues plaguing the game is its very confusing monetization scheme. If you log on to Steam right now and check the game's page, there's over 5 expansion options for you to buy. You will see in front of you the Forsaken pack, which what the hell is even a Forsaken pack? You will see the Shadowkeep campaign, you'll see Beyond Light, you'll see the Witch Queen, you will see some emote pack, you will see some silver pack, you'll be wondering what the hell is going on over here. The worst part about all of this is that you don't even know what you're losing if you don't buy these expansions / packs until one of your clanmates actually tells you, oh, you need this gun, it's connected to X campaign. Oh, you don't have that campaign? Well, I'm sorry. There's also supposed to be dungeon keys for you to be able to actually have access to the dungeons and a whole host of other stuff. That host of other stuff is actually all of the cool cosmetics that you can buy in the in-game store called the Eververse. But the store UI is just so unintuitive that the likelihood of you getting lost is pretty much more likely than not. Oh, I almost forgot, there's also the 4 seasons that you get per year. You need to purchase all of them if you want to keep up with the game. Are you feeling confused yet? Don't worry, so was I, which led to me just buying the expansions deluxe pack every year just so I get everything in one purchase. And to be completely honest, most likely this is what Bungie was after all along. In my opinion, the store should just have the new expansion and its seasons and then just one big pack which includes all of the content that came out prior to the latest expansion. This will avoid confusion and make it much simpler for you to get your friends to actually buy the game. It should be an easy fix and I hope Bungie start considering it because we've been complaining about this for a while as a community. The final thing I want to talk about is maybe the most difficult one to quantify or even explain properly. The fourth and final reason I'm concerned about Destiny's future is the seasonal model and it becoming very stale for us. Now I want to make one thing clear, we do get a lot of content for this game. Every season we do get a new storyline that we get to play, we get a new seasonal activity and a couple of other stuff, maybe an exotic mission if we're lucky. The problem comes in when we start talking about variety or the lack thereof. Essentially we play pretty much the same thing every week with a couple of small changes, but the mission variety is really lacking most of the time. Couple that with seasons being finite and this does contribute to a lot of FOMO. Skipping a season could also mean that you miss out on an exotic or something else because you may not have the time to actually run it back when you go back into the game. And that's simply because there's another season to grind, another seasonal activity, another story, all of that jazz. So the only way to actually experience everything the game has to offer is for you to play Destiny 2 almost as if it's your job. And that's only something streamers and YouTubers can do. Most people are not like the regular hardcore gamer. They take showers, they go outside, they socialize, they don't have so much time to game. But then you also have the hardcore Destiny players who play the game religiously every week, they knock out the content in an hour or two and then they have nothing new to do. And we basically get to a point where no one is really happy about the situation. All of these things 100% contribute to the burnout of a lot of players who take very long breaks from the game just because they get sick of it. It's weird how I'm saying they, but I really should be saying we right now. It is a very weird situation, but most of the community does feel the same way that I do. It almost feels like Destiny lives, but it's not thriving and it doesn't seem like it will start anytime soon. If Bungie want to keep Destiny as one of the best FPS games that you can play, they really have to shake things up, and at the the moment, it doesn't seem like they have plans to do that. It's not like I'm saying I have the solutions to all of these problems. I'm not even giving a lot of solutions in this very video, but Bungie, if you end up watching this, these are real pain points that the community wants you to fix. But that's pretty much it. That's the 4 reasons why I'm concerned about Destiny's future. There's a bunch more, but these are the most condensed ones I could give you. What do you think about all of this? Sound off in the comments. And if you've gotten this far into the video, a sub to the channel would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you have a great rest of the day or evening, Guardian. I'll see you next time, fam.